So today I wanted to have a philosophical reflection upon my experience with everything spiritual I experienced so far. And since, in my audience, I think there are many people who need to hear this, I will say this because I have a responsibility as an educator to educate people in a manner which is the closest to what I consider to be objectively real, and also which is the least harmful to the people who listen to certain message. So the point of this video is essentially the nature of what we consider to be spirits and what we consider to be gods and what we consider to be us. So, what are spirits? So, for the purpose of this video, I will use the Arabic vocabulary. What are the Jinn? What are the inhabitants of the unseen world or Gaib? What are those beings? So at the surface level, the Jinn are invisible race of human-like creatures which have customs, religions, and doctrines, and also cities and courts. But if we look at deeper meaning of the word Jinn, it simply means hidden or concealed. So what are the Jinn in that more esoteric sense? They are concealed energies we are not able to observe. And those energies exist within us as well as within the universe. That is why in the Muslim scripture and in many Islamic texts, it is recommended for a human to not interact with the Jinn who are disbelievers. So what it means to be a disbeliever? Now, exoterically it means to not believe in the religion of Islam. But esoterically it means the disbeliever is the one who is not in union with the principle of creation and who is exceedingly destructive, and disbeliever is the one who follows the aspect of the creation and the creator which is destructive in nature to an extreme degree. So what are, by definition, a disbeliever Jinn then? So it is said in the Quran and in many scriptures that God is capable of creating, but God is also capable of destroying. So disbeliever Jinn are those Jinn who are not aligned with the aspect of God as a creator. They are aligned with God as a destroyer, and they destroy when God allows them to destroy. There is no destruction they can impose against the permission of Supreme Consciousness. They are not in reality fixed beings. They don't have corporeal bodies of any kind. They are non-corporeal conscious energies or powers. And that is why when we talk about them in multiple different scriptures, through multiple different religions. They are always described as shapeshifters. Why? Because they actually don't have shape. They are shapeless energies, shapeless consciousness, which has a certain metaphysical quality to them. I know that this is confusing for many people, but I am trying to explain this as much as I can. Well, why then, according to the lore, Jinn live in invisible world? So if we establish that Jinn are indeed not some beings with corporeal bodies, they are energies. We usually don't observe energies of any kind directly as human beings. Our senses divide the world into false impressions of material objects. So when you go into state of mind which essentially obliterates those false divisions of our senses, you are able to observe the Jinn, those conscious non-corporeal energies, in a way which is more suitable to you. That is why majority of times Jinn appear to human in anthropomorphic form, or in something which resembles certain biological creature on earth or plant. So what we need to understand is that spirits, Jinn, gods, angels, all of those forces, all of those energies, they are not something which is exclusively external, but they are not something which is exclusively internal either, because the energies, they flow through the universe but also through us. So let's return to the Jinn, especially to the Shayati and to the Marids and other darker spirits. Let's talk about them again, now when we cleared the fact that spirits and gods and jinns are not corporeal. So essentially, there are different levels of energy. There are different levels of spiritual existence. Some of those levels is closer to our mundane human experience, and some of those levels is more distant or separate from our human experience. So there are beings, there are energies which are not corporeal, but which are in nature and the way of experiencing the world pretty similar to us. They have similar emotions as us, similar observations as us, similar way of thinking like us, but those non-corporeal energies don't have physical bodies like us, and they are not bound by the same limits of space and time we are. Those energies are not close to the divine, to the source of all creation. They are simply and pretty clearly separate from the source of creation, but they are also much more able to connect to the source of creation if they want. So those are the Jinn. The Jinn are unseen energies, unseen consciousnesses, which are in a way of perceiving the world and interacting with the world pretty similar to us. They are the closest thing to human perception there is in a spiritual world, if we do not include the spirits of the dead. But we need to understand that Jinn are not in any way, shape or form actually anthropomorphic. They don't have actual countries, actual religions, actual customs or courts. That's simply our way of describing how they interact. They are pretty close to us, but also pretty different. And they are not individual and humanoid in the same way we are. They are more like concealed energies, unseen energies, which observe the world similarly to us. Why I am pointing this out? I am pointing this out because if Jinn are energy, a spiritual, conscious energy, then you cannot marry an energy. You cannot essentially be friend with the energy. You cannot project our human relationships and understandings upon something which is clearly not a human being. In the same way that you cannot have a sexual relationship or marriage with a horse, you also cannot have sexual relationship or marriage in a human sense with a Jinn or any other type of energy or spirit. Because energy is different. Spiritual energy is different. It lives in a different conditions than we do. It functions differently than our bodies do. And so you can't project our human condition upon something which is completely and fundamentally not a human being. Jinn and any other spirit is different form of energy. And the reason why we need to point this out is because if we understand that it is energy, then delusions of grandeur, which definitely exist in this community of people interested in spiritual seeking, will be eliminated. Because everybody can move energy, everybody can work with energy. Energy is everywhere. And since the Jinn are a type of energy and any other spirit is a type of energy, everybody can work with Jinn and any other form of spirit. And also you cannot marry energy, you cannot be friend with energy. Energy cannot be your mother or father. Majority of delusions I met are product of anthropomorphization of something which is clearly not human. And also, if we present to the modern science a clear understanding that spirits are indeed energy, then scientists will be more willing to accept the existence of different forms of conscious energy, aka spirit world. Because what human is is human is a conscious energy. So if you present the case that there could be other form of conscious energy, just like human being is a conscious energy, because everything is essentially energy. Matter is simply a condensed energy in a certain form. When you destroy the material object, you do so by releasing energy which is within that object and binds it to its corporeal form. So that's kind of my main tractate against spiritual delusions and the nature of spirit. Any anthropomorphization of spirits is good in a sense, as long as you understand that the energies themselves are not anthropomorphic. As soon as you start projecting your human relationships and human understandings upon the entity, it will inevitably, sooner or later, lead to a delusion. It will lead to a delusion of grandeur, it will lead to lack of understanding, it will lead to spiritual blockages, and maybe even to insanity. So that is why I filmed this. Thank you people for watching, and talk to you soon. And as a last note of this video, Jinn, energies of the Jinn are pretty close to our human existence and our human perspectives, but they are still not corporeal and not anthropomorphic, and they are a completely different type of existence than we are. So in truth, in the fullest sense of the word, you cannot marry a Jinn. You cannot be the friend with Jinn in the same way you are with a human. And you cannot have Jinn as your father. Some people have those delusions, but those delusions are delusions if we don't understand that when you are married to a Jinn, it's a metaphor for certain interaction with spiritual energy. If we don't understand that it's actually a metaphor, that you cannot physically marry a Jinn, then we have an issue. Then we have a problem. So, talk to you soon, guys, and see you later.